Good morning, everybody. How are you? Happy Wednesday. We missed you last week, but we had the 2 to 10 session last Tuesday. I know many of you joined us, so it's good to be back with you today. So welcome to week 32 of 5. Remember, Michelle, it was going to be 5 weeks. And so here we are, week 32. I guess we can still say for the final time, happy 2021. You start getting into February and maybe you start taking this slide out. But to me, it's still the new year. It's still a great fresh time to take a fresh view at things and move into what we hope will be a great and a very different year, building on the silver linings from 2021. Please use the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Keep it interactive. This is a roundtable, so comments, whether they're random or on point, just participate. We love having you. So let's see here. Qnity, of course, we're from Qnity here, and this is the weekly financial roundtable. We do have some sponsors, including Aura and Vish. If you haven't listened to the segments we did with the principals of those organizations, you should. They provide great technology that will absolutely help profitability and many other things in your business. Last week, 2 weeks ago, actually, we had Jana Westerbeek and Megan Jasper from Gadabout. They talked about a compensation change that they had rolled out. Actually, I got to spend some time with these wonderful ladies. Mary and I were just down in Tucson and had an amazing experience at Gadabout and in Tucson with Jan and Megan, Frank, and other members of their team. So very, very glad to have them contribute a couple weeks ago, and I'm sure we'll hear more from them in the future. So we add Jana and Megan to the Brain Trust. Speaking of adding to the Brain Trust, well, let's welcome Necole and Orlando Cumberlander from Ohio. They're going to be our newest members of the Brain Trust. I've been wanting to get Necole and Orlando on here for probably the last month, and we had some holiday breaks and that kind of stuff. So perfect timing to have Necole and Orlando with us today. So we'll get to hear from them in a moment. Reminder that the past recordings of these roundtables are a body of work in it of itself. We should actually take those, Michelle. We should take all 32 weeks. We turn it into a book. It's like a textbook of financial sustainability, silver linings, with most of the contributions coming from our Brain Trust. Here is the schedule for upcoming roundtables. We'll continue to update this. We have occasional breaks here and there. Brain Trust, we can't do this without collaborators. And one of the things that we love to do is we love to collaborate. So here are just a few of our collaborators, members of the Brain Trust. And if you are a member of the Brain Trust, if you have been a member of the Brain Trust, a little sneak peek, you will be getting something in the mail soon. I'm super excited about it. All right. Anyway, I love to drop those little teases in there, right, Michelle? Okay. Now, the 9 grid is our one of our core visual thinking tools. Worked with the 9 grid yesterday, actually down in Tucson with a great leadership team at Gadabout. And the 9 grid, we furnished one for these roundtables to help you take notes. Remember, use the chat. And then without any further ado, let's get Necole and Orlando off the mute. And I'm going to take this off the screen so we can just get a chance to see them. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are the two of you?
Oh, awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. So excited to be here.
Yes. Well, Necole, you and Skylar, your wonderful daughter, actually were guests on the 2 to 10 segment last Tuesday, and you went what we call in the barrel. And people have recently seen you because you have you're moving back into salons. You've been in this business for a while, so but today we want to focus on the schools, and we know that recruitment is something. Well, let me back up a little bit. Let me allow both of you to just speak a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and instead of my doing the introduction. In Ohio, you have 2 schools. Tell us just a little bit more.
Sure. Well, as you said, I'm Necole and
Orlando,
Cumberlander, and we're from Cleveland, Ohio. We have two Palmetto schools, one in Cleveland and one in Columbus. And as you said, we are going back into the salon business. That's really how, we started, was in the salon business, had a successful salon for 15 years. And realized that the school business was a completely different animal. And our children were still small, and just decided that we needed to kind of put our big rocks in first and streamline some things. So we sold the salon, sold it for a profit. So that was exciting. And just focused on growing our family and growing the schools. And that's what we did. So here we are again in a whole different climate, a whole different realm, and decided that it was time to get back into salons for a few reasons that I'm sure we'll talk about a little later. And Orlando reminded me that I always take all the time talking, so I'm going to say.
Well, what we ended up doing was, because our children are now grown and they decided to come into the business, we decided to, get back into that aspect of our business. And our daughter actually, graduated from college and realized that she wanted to get into the salon industry. She wanted to be a hairstylist. And, my only, prerequisite at that moment was we had 2 years of college under our belt. So let's go ahead and finish that up, so that, once you get done with college, and then we can go directly to cosmetology school. So now you have the business aspect as well as the technical aspect. So you'll be a double threat. So that's kind of how we decided to go back into the salon industry.
Well, we've had a chance to, Michelle and I and Carrie from our team have had a chance to work with you on both, on the schools and the salons. And so what I can tell our listeners today is, in terms of vetting our guests, you guys do things very, very well. You have profitable business, your financial practices are outstanding, and you also have industry leadership. And Necole, I remember, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, back in the day, where'd that term people are starting to use back in the day. Well, I already used it. It's too late to reel it back in. I remember back in the day, you were a contributor, member of the TSA, and you PBA, and so you've always been a contributor beyond just what you do in your own business. So right now you're actually on the state board, Ohio State Board, as relates to schools. You're also involved at a high leadership level within the Paul Mitchell network of schools. So so for those of you that want to know a little bit more about them, these guys have it going on. And they're very successful. So you're the perfect guest to get into this subject. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The common area, or a very common area that our participants struggle with, as well as always need to focus on, is recruitment. And typically all our other guests so far, you're actually the first school guests that we've had on here. Not the last, but the first. And that's a hint to some of you others out there that's the future. And the integration between the salons and schools is something we take for granted. But we've never really broken it apart and looked at it from the school side of it. And so from a recruitment standpoint, I'm going to just ask you some open-ended questions. So our audience is going to be primarily made of salon owners, many market leaders, and the world of recruitment today, from your perspective, and what advice would you give? This is a big, broad question, but what advice would you give salons as it relates to recruitment, from your perspective?
Well, one of the things that we highly recommend is just get involved. Get involved in the schools and all the schools, and play at a big level. Don't just call and participate when you need team members. You know, future professionals, that's what we call our students. Future professionals, they gravitate to who they know. And quite honestly, the faces that they see and that come and interact with them, they want to play with who want to play with them. So at the end of the day, that's pretty much who they go to. You know, we get feedback from salon owners sometimes that may not participate and play with us as much. We've got some that we call them partners because they're in our school so much. You know, and this is by no means I'm suggesting that you do this, but we've got salon owners that like just randomly will send pizza to the future professionals, and they know who it's from, and you know, they love that, and they're reaching out and showing what their culture is before they even come and participate with them and play with them. So I think just some of those things, just stay involved, get involved.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we highly recommend, like Necole said, is like you say, to actually stay involved, stay connected. One thing that we want to also make sure is that we want to make sure our future professionals understand what's a great fit for them. You know, it can start off a certain way, but this is your career. This is not a hustle. This is not just something to get you by. This is your career, and it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And my thing is, you want to go from 0 to 5 years. What's my 5-year goal? What's my 10-year goal? And they want to know that there is a company out there that can help take them to that level. So, like I say, just stay involved and just be known.
Yeah.
So my pen's moving. I'm like taking notes here. So I have to be careful because I'm here to collaborate with you and curate this, but I'm taking notes here. You just had a couple of sound bites that I'm going to circle, and this is for all of you out there. Play at a big level. I hope you guys heard that. That is really a great mindset. And the other thing that you said that I think is super, actually you've got 3 things that you said. The second thing is they gravitate to who they know. Duh, I mean, that's really, it's such a fundamental thing. And then the last thing is that Orlando, you just said is, this isn't a hustle, it's a career. So you guys are off to like a huge start in this conversation. So awesome. I love it. Sam Bricato, by the way, says hi.
We love Sam. Hey, Sam.
So, all right. Now, what are some specific ways to work with schools? And by the way, I'm going to sneak something in. This is a tip for some of the Qnity clients that follow 8 seasons. One of the things, and follow our 5 functions. So tip for those of you out there, put it on your calendar. What happens is that, the idea is, yeah, we're going to get involved in the schools, you get hot, you get cold. Every single season, use your 8 seasons calendar. Every single season, calendarize some involvement. So it's not just these, saturation and then you go dark. So that's a little tip. So sorry, I had to sneak that in. So what are some other specific ways to work with schools?
Obviously it depends on from school to school. We'll use our school, for example, because that's what we know. Every Tuesday we have what we call professional development. And even we're doing this, right now we're doing a hybrid program. So, we can do things online. They're partly in the building, half of them are in the building, and then the other half are online, and then they flip flop. But we have professional development, and we invite salon owners to come in, not just the owners, but we tell the more seasoned salon owners, send your young, cool team members in, the ones that are graduates from that school in particular, if you have any, that are really blossoming and doing well, because they can share their story, and they're relatable. They're the cool ones, even, with our salon, I won't go in there. I mean, I will, because they know who I am, but, I'll send our young, fresh, talent in there that are doing well. So see how the schools will allow you to participate. Also, another thing we do, we allow them to come in and do what we call mini classes on the salon floor, on the clinic floor, because There's some downtime if they don't have a guest at that moment. There might be a little spurt of a mini class over in this area, on a particular area, where they can gather around and see some cool new tips from, a fresh young stylist out there, or from a salon that's doing something different. There's just so many ways that you can participate.
Yeah, like Necole said, just we want to make sure that the future professionals, which we call them future professionals, the students are always engaged in learning. Because even though we say that, what do they say? It takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. Well, we have 1,500 hours in cosmetology school, at least in our state, 1,500 hours. So you got 1,500 hours where you're concentrating on color, haircuts, texture, styling, things like that, theory. So all that in 1,500 hours, where you know that it's 10,000 hours to just master haircutting. Well, we want to make sure that if people that come in that are teaching those tips on haircutting, teaching those tips on color, teaching those tips on texture, they can say, you know what, this is the future that, this salon can help take me to the next level. So we encourage those, like Necole said, the young, hip people that can see themselves in those salons. It's like, wow, she looks like me. He acts like me. You know what I mean? That could be a perfect fit for me. Let me go investigate that salon. And then what we would possibly do is we also have within our admissions department, we have what is called a placement leader. And their job is specifically to go around to salons. They're in the community. They're in high schools, just trying to find different or the perfect fit for each individual student that we have, because that's part of what we do. Our objective is to make sure that we place upwards of 100% of our future professionals. So we want to make sure that they have the right fit, the right culture for the company that they align themselves with.
You said something in terms of, we'll come back to other ways to get involved in a moment here. And I think that's the whole admissions piece is a really important piece that you just mentioned there. You don't encourage going directly into a independent situation.
No.
Different terminology, booth rental, suites, whatever you want to call it, solopreneur. You don't encourage that out of school. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Sure. No, we don't encourage that, particularly fresh out of school. I mean, they're just not ready. As Orlando said, we have 1,500 hours. Now, granted, there are some students, very few, but there are some students that come in, and I mean, at the end of the day, they've been doing hair since they were kids. So they're just coming to get a license. However, they do realize once they get there that they don't know everything, and there's still so much for them to learn and develop before they can really get out there and play on the level that they want to play. So we don't encourage it, because we've actually had future professionals that's done it come back and talk to them and share their experience as to, I thought I was ready. I thought I could, but I ended up having to break my lease. I mean, we hear these stories all the time. And, when we hear a story like that, we ask, would you mind coming back and sharing that with the future professionals? Because they need to know. There's so much that they still need to learn before they get to the point of being able to be an independent contractor. And we don't poo-poo on that business model, because it's a legal business model and it can be successful done in the right way. But we also talk about the importance of, taking care of your business, not just the hair, but taking care of the business while you're in that situation. And unfortunately, COVID revealed a lot of that. There's a lot of independent contractors out there that suffered tremendously because they didn't have all their ducks in a row and they didn't have their business in order. So they couldn't take advantage of unemployment. They couldn't take advantage of the PPP. They couldn't take advantage of so many opportunities that were out there to help people, when they were out of work, simply because their business wasn't in order. They weren't in order.
If I can touch on that a little bit, like Necole said, our main focus is to prepare our students for a successful career in the industry, not a career, a successful career. So we say, okay, what does that look like? Everything we do is for their preparation. So when we say 85% is why a they will maintain a guest. 15% of it is merely how they do their hair, how they cut, how they color, how they texturize, how they process, stuff like that. So one thing that we want to talk about basically is, what does that look like? Being lifelong learners, how is the salon that they're going to align themselves with helping to get them to that level? One of the things we talk about, how the salon will help prepare them. So like Necole said, they are not prepared. They don't know how to prepare. A lot of them don't know how to prepare on their own. So that's what the salons are for in the very beginning, basically, is to help, not only to help the salons grow, but to help prepare them for a successful career. Because, you know, they don't have the whereabouts to, you know, being on time. They don't have the whereabouts of being professional. They don't have the whereabouts of, you know, making sure they're always in a great mood. They don't have the whereabouts of, so if they practice bad, they'll take those bad habits with them. And if they have no one to help give them direction, then they're just in an independent contracting situation with bad habits, always late, you know, never being professional, because that's all they know. And they have no one helping to drive them to help them get to where they need to be.
And sometimes, you know, because we do have, I mean, they're strict, but they pay us a lot of money to come in there and be strict on them. You know, we are your coach. This is what we do. We are here to help prepare you for a successful career in the beauty industry. You can't do that if we allow you to be late. You cannot do that if we allow you to come and show up looking any kind of way. You know, you can't do that if you show up and you're in a bad mood, and we allow that to continue to happen.
Yeah, another little, it's funny how words make a very big difference in Orlando. I mean, both your shares are incredible, by the way. Thank you for this. This is, and we've had a lot of conversations. We've really gotten to know each other over the last 6 months, and it's another silver lining from the pandemic is to meet great people like you. And we've spent a lot of time together, and it's an honor.
Likewise.
You dropped the word, it's not just a career, but a successful career. I love to hang on to that. I'm going to ask you a question, but before I do, in case I forget, so this is completely random comment. For all you guys in California, congratulations, by the way. I see Carla, yes. So that's awesome. What should a salon look for in a school? We have some other school clients, some really great schools. And yes, Carla, woohoo, that's awesome. What should a salon look for in a school? Because all schools were not created equal.
No, they're not. You know, some schools, let me back up. As you said, I'm on state board. And, you know, state board's responsibility is to make sure that the public is safe, period. People think that state board's job is to make sure that we have, that the students know how to do hair and make sure that the students know how to cut and color. And it's not. It's not that they don't care, but that's not their focus. The state board's focus is bacteriology and sanitation and to make sure that the public is safe, period. And COVID revealed that, why that's such an important job. So dispel the myth that state board's job is to prepare these students and make sure that they're ready for a successful career, because it's not. With that being said, some schools, they just prepare them for state board. And that's not a horrible thing. That they have a market for that, and some people, that's all they want. There's other schools that are there to prepare them for a successful career in the beauty industry. And that's the area where we happen to fall in. So it really depends on what your need as a salon is. If you don't really care what, you know, you just want somebody and you're going to teach them everything they need to know anyway, that might be okay to get somebody from a school that's all they're going to know is to how to pass state board. But if you want somebody that can maybe matriculate through your training program a little faster and a little bit more sophisticated level, that comes with some, you know, a little bit of foundation or a good solid foundation, then you might want to play with a school that's going to offer a little bit more. And it also depends on what schools are going to allow you to come in and play with them.
Right.
We have a Paul Mitchell event every year, and the process of actually attending the event is like you sell product, okay, and that's the way you sell a certain amount of product, which gives you, you know, airline, your airfare, your hotel accommodations, your per diem, things like that. And so my whole focus, well, let me say it like this, where it started to be where you can just sell product like, you know, like Girl Scout cookies. And my whole focus was to, you know what, they need to know how to sell the product behind the chair. That's how they need to do it, because I get it that the event is such a tremendous event that it's a must participate, but I still want them to be able to sell the product the right way that will prepare them for when they get into the salons, that they know how to do it. Because people don't buy product. You know, you can't take your product sheet home and have your mother take it around to the aunts and uncles and sell the product for you. Yes. So I want them to practice the way they want to play. So that's kind of my focus, always preparing them.
That's always been his bone of contention with that event. We love it. It's an amazing event, yeah. But you gotta really kind of keep them reeled in as to, because they're and I mean, in school their focus is, I just want to get there. I just want to go to the event. Participate. Yeah, and it's caper, and Wynn does an amazing job at putting that caper on every year. So it's a must attend event, but let's make sure we're still getting the learning lesson, you know, the reason why it's there. The learning lesson is to be able to retail and sell take home. That's the whole benefit, the purpose of it. So let's not get off track with that.
You know, I think that the salon industry has done an amazing job through COVID, and clearly we see how many, including many on this call today, are celebrating like no cases of COVID. That is extraordinary given how intimate and the amount of touch. And I don't know if schools are getting enough credit for that. You know, without the schools, you know, that's where it starts. I mean, that, you know, so you mentioned the state board and the need to keep the public safe. And so it is a shout out to the schools. Now, as it relates to the schools, this is, I'm going to go right into a hot spot here, okay, including with people on the call. There are people that are divided in the salon industry as it relates to schools. There are some that think, wow, 1,500 hours is like way too much. And then there are those that are, that's not enough. And, you know, so it's a very controversial area right now, including people I'm very close with that are in very different camps on this. And from your perspective, you're a school owner, and more hours means more money, right? All right. And so there is, but you know, Necole, you have a really, I think, a very balanced perspective on this that maybe we should hear from. Okay, so I'm going to.
You trying to say my perspective is not balanced?
Well, I'm.
It's an ongoing debate in our house.
Listen, it's an open mic, so I'll let the two of you. I called on Necole because you're on the state board. You on the state board, Orlando? All right, sorry, I got you back with that one.
I got you.
We would love to hear both your perspectives.
I got you.
Take it away.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that, because, you know, I do get a lot of flack. Number one, because I am on state board, and, you know, and I schools expect you to think school owners expect you to think a certain way. And one thing that most of you guys that know me and Orlando know, that we have never been, you know, just mediocre at what we do. We try and be trailblazers, and we try to think outside the box, and always thinking how to get to the next level. So, and do it with integrity. And one of the things about, yes, if the 1,500 hours, you know, we have a business model that's around 1,500 hours. So that's, you know, unapologetically, that's how we make our money, you know, through enrollment and all of that. It creates great revenue. However, it also creates some issues, 1,500 hours. There's a thing called Gainful Employment. I don't know if salon owners know. I know some of you are familiar with it, but it's a very real thing. It's a huge threat for schools. It started back in the Obama administration where, it basically was trying to get rid of the bad for-profit school players. The Corinthians, those type of online education that basically were driving up revenue and debt for students. Well, we also know that universities are a huge culprit of student loan debt, and those students graduating and not being able to find a comparable job in their field to be able to pay off that student loan debt. So a lot of the default rate and student loan debt and all of that is coming from the university level. But the universities have a huge lobbying budget, and they stay on Capitol Hill, and they were able to kind of bypass and get a carve out for that because they were there, they were unified, they had, nose to the grind and knew what was coming down the line. So for-profit schools were the only ones that were really hit with gainful employment. With the previous administration, they were all about, making sure that for-profit schools were able to thrive. Now in this new administration, it's back to be a threat again. And the sweet spot, we really believe, is about 1,200 hours. And I'll let Orlando explain why 1,200 hours is a sweet spot from the financial perspective of the student.
So basically how schools are funded, it's pay periods, and there's at a 1,500 hour level, there's 4 pay periods that a student can receive. And so going from 1,200 to 1,500, there's that last pay period, whereas not only are they paying for their tuition, their school expenses, they're also getting refunds. And I think that's where the biggest challenge is that when just like universities, colleges and universities, when they get these refund checks, what are they doing with that money? Are they putting it towards their education? You know what I mean? So we really encourage them, and if you don't really need that refund, the extra money outside of what it takes to be educated, don't take it, because that's the money that's going to put you into debt. And what we always like to say is that's going to keep you from being able to go to that great salon that may not be able to give you 65% commission. They may be they can be around 40% commission because that's their model, but you have to realize that the other percentages that they keep, this is what they need to make a thriving salon for you to go to every single day and be successful. If they're giving you 65% commission, then there's no way that they have enough in their budget to give you all the things, the education. Once again, we talk about the being a lifelong learner. The way we're cutting hair today, hopefully you're not cutting hair like that tomorrow. So all these things are constantly changing. So the salons have to have a budget in order to be able to help get you from A to Z. So with that being said, we just want to make sure that a lot of students are really using that money for what it's supposed to be used for. Because what'll happen is they'll say, well, I can't afford to go to a salon that's paying me 40%. I need to go to the 65% commission-based salon. So with that being said, so it's very important not to get so tied up into loan debt that you can't choose the right particular salon for you.
And it's important. That's a financial literacy is a huge piece that we really educate. That's where really Orlando and I spend a lot of our time educating future professionals, is in financial literacy, and why it's so important to be able to, go to the salon that initially, you might be making minimum wage, but prepare yourself, be able to take advantage of these opportunities that are out there. We always tell them, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So school is the time to get ready. Yeah. And so that when those opportunities present themselves, you can take advantage of it. But I know we veered off a little bit, but that's a really important backdrop for you guys to understand why my perspective of I don't really have a problem with them lowering the hours, because like Orlando said, for us, we think 1,200 hours is a sweet spot. 1,000 hours, it's a little much. It's a little much because there is a lot that we want to train them on. And if you're only teaching them how to pass state board, 1,000 hours is more than enough. I'll just be honest. Some people feel like, well, if you lower the hours, then you're going to lower the professionalism of our industry. We don't believe that at all. Because if 500 hours is the difference between you being professional and not being professional, your problems are a whole lot deeper than that, than 500 hours, trust us. So, you know, we really don't believe that, but we also believe that it's important for salons to take a stand and really make sure that your education is up to par, because it's not if, it's when. I mean, Texas we know that they fought long and hard trying to prevent the hours from being lowered. And through all of that, in the middle of the night, they came and lowered the hours at 1,000 hours. And they were upset about it. And I understand them being upset, but here's the thing, guys, it's not if it's gonna happen, it's when. And, you know, Ohio and Texas are one of those states that other states look at. And if it happened there, chances are it's going to happen, you know, in other places. We're in Ohio and the fight is there. And we believe wholeheartedly that it's going to happen at some point. But instead of fighting that or being able to go to the table and compromise, because we feel like if we just went to the table and said, hey, let's compromise. There maybe 1,500 hours, you know, it's been there since the beginning of time. Maybe it is time to take it a little bit lower. You know, we can compromise and work some things out. But if we leave it up to them, they're going to take it down to where they want it to be.
Yeah, I think that this is an important topic from a lot of different perspectives, and it does require schools to, as you said, salons education would need to step up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm looking at our participants today. Already got enough on their plate, you know, and they just want people and they just want to get them on the floor. In the same vein, they have brands they want to protect. There's quality, you know. So the integration of the schools into salons is something that I've become much more aware of. And a lot of that has to do with the work that we've done together, past, present, and future. And, you know, so the integration, I think, is vitally important. We talked about financial literacy. Remember, this is a financial roundtable. And I think that's an area that we collectively are very passionate about. The two of you, the Qnity team, I mean, that is the, and this is a little tease for the future. We're going to have a little collaboration with the Cumberlanders, so we'll save that for another day. But with the schools and this whole issue of number of hours, so ongoing education, let's see, let me actually look at some. Yeah, Sue Aarons, hi Sue, out in Colorado. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to look at some of the comments just for a moment. Ongoing education in the salon. Amanda Hare, learning so much here. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. Sue Aarons, ongoing education in salon is imperative, non-negotiable in our salon. Lisa Justice from Texas. She's calling out, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. They love that, by the way. You got a lot of these things that stick, I tell you. Some of the things you come up with. So what else would you, yes, Sam, this is very valuable information. Will you guys come back sometime, be our guests?
Oh, absolutely. You know, you can't get rid of us now, Tom. You're stuck with us.
So back to recruitment, okay? And all of this is relevant. And here's the thing for you salon owners that, you know, are fitting this call in today. As soon as you hang up, you're going to go on to all the other things that you need to do. But at the end of the day, I think it's really important for all segments of the professional beauty industry to understand each other. Mm-hmm. And there's so many different silos as it relates to manufacturers. Then there's salons and spas, and then there's schools. And financial sustainability and success in this industry requires a tremendous amount of collaboration and open dialogue. And that's what you're bringing here. So back to recruitment, and the issue du jour with many of these salons is finding people. As you know, I'm on the board of Beauty Changes Lives, and there's a tremendous unmet need. I mean, there's more jobs than there are applicants today, So what else would you advise salons to do from a short and long-term perspective as it relates to talent in the beauty industry?
Well, obviously you want the best talent that you can possibly get. And one of the things that a good school is going to provide for their future professionals are going to be a good culture and, a good solid foundation. And we're going to tell them, I mean, we go in and we're very transparent with them, and we tell them by no means at the end of this program are you going to be a master at anything that we share with you.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to provide a solid foundation and prepare you to go into a salon and be able to build upon that foundation. So the expectation of them being, a master hair cutter and being able to go right into a salon and cut, day one and color day one. Yeah, some of them may be able to, but we really encourage them to go places where they have a solid education and a program, an assistant program, and a solid a culture, because culture is key. Culture is key. Orlando created a spreadsheet of showing them how a P&L works and why it's so important from a salon owner's perspective to be able, we go over them with the benchmarks in the industry are, how much should you be paying in rent? And because of course, everybody, when you enter, not everybody, but a good portion of them want to be salon owners. So we share with them what that really looks like. There's a completely different skill set that it takes to be a salon owner than it takes to be a successful hairstylist. Completely different. So make sure that the education that you get to be a salon owner is just that. We just partnershiped with Kent State University. So now all of our future professionals that graduate from our school and get a license, they actually acquire 30 credit hours to Kent State University towards their business degree, their associate's business degree. And that's included. Yeah, that's included.
Why are you just telling me about this now? I didn't know about that.
You know what? I just thought about it. And I'm thinking in my head, I don't even think Tom knows this. But yeah, we had this program for a little over a year, and it's with both of our locations. And it was interesting because we were a little concerned about our Columbus location because Cleveland, Kent State is right down the street from our Kent State location. From Kent State University. So we knew that it wouldn't be a problem there, but it would have to be online if they went to our Columbus location or had to move to Cleveland. But now with COVID and everybody being comfortable with being online, it's a no-brainer. And we've had some amazing success stories with future professionals graduating. And we actually celebrate the fact that when they graduate, you now have 30 credit hours towards your associate's degree at Kent State, and you only have 30 credit hours left to complete it. So they've got a full year and they only have a year left to complete it.
All right, we've got some questions, and I'm watching the clock here, so we'll do bite-sized answers so we can address some. Okay. So the first one I think is a pretty straightforward one. Is enrollment up or down with your schools or those in your network from San Bricata? Up or down?
Yeah, it's down. Yeah, we're about 25, maybe 25%.
Yeah, a little over 25% down for enrollment. So
over last year.
Yeah, over last year.
Sheila Wilson, do you know Sheila? She's president of Interco Fure. Good morning, Sheila. We had a nice chat yesterday.
Yes.
And try to keep this, again, I'm looking at the clock here. How do you guide students to look for a salon? And thank you for being realistic in your dialogue about students. So how do you guide students to look for a salon?
Well, once again, we talk about the perfect fit. you know, the culture, what is it that you look for in a salon? Because that's what you're going to gravitate to. One trick of the trade that we'll let you guys in on is, you know, when we send our students to an actual location, to make sure that they're interviewing you, the salon owner, as much as you are interviewing them. And what they'll also do is, to let you guys know, is we say, you know what, go in and secret shop them. Make sure that, you know, that they're doing exactly what they say they were going to do, you know, how their culture is. Go in and just have like a service done. Go get your nails done, you know, go get a, you know, small service, and then just kind of look around and see what's happening. You know what I mean? And making sure that that salon is what it said it was. So guys, stay on your game, because they're secret shopping you.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
So you know, this, it reminds me, maybe at a later time, we'll talk about some Qnity activity, things that some of our clients are doing using some of the tools as it relates to recruitment, you know, like a 9 grid to find out what their dreams are and that kind of stuff. I'll save that for another day. Sheila said, this is like heaven hearing someone's talking to students about finances and overhead. Sheila, stay tuned. We're just getting warmed up. Okay. Just getting warmed up. Right, guys? So
Absolutely.
More coming on that one in the future. Do you have many strong cultured salons in your area you can send your future professionals to work for who help them grow successful careers? That's from Sue Aarons, Colorado.
You know what? If we're being honest, no, which is one of the reasons why we went back into the salon industry, the salon business. You know, we've got some players. But at the end of the day, our future professionals, they want to play big.
Yeah.
They want to play big. They want a career, and they don't want to just go someplace where they're allowed to just do whatever they want. They want structure. They want culture. They want energy. They want to be able to enjoy and be proud of their industry, and they want to go to salons that are going to reflect that.
So if any of you that are on this call are interested and passionate about seeing greater financial literacy in schools, please send Aaron or I a message because that is a very hot topic right now. Carla Lopez from California, my new favorite quote, stay in your game, you won't have to get ready. Sue Aarons, thank you for your honesty. They love the secret shopping. You're generating a lot of comments here. A lot of comments. This is a good one today. Very good one. All right. Let's see what other questions people have. Let me also look at my notes here. Let me take a look at my notes here. Michelle, is there anything? I know you were part of some of the time we spent together. One of the things that was interesting that you said was that what they're really looking for is culture and education, right? And not necessarily money, okay? But it's culture and education, right?
Yeah, if you've got a good culture, if they enjoy going to work every day and they've got a great education to set them up for success, the money's going to come. You know, we tell them, you know, money is like a bad boyfriend. If you give them all your attention and chase it, it's going to run. It's not going to do you right ever. But if you ignore them and do you and focus on you and be the best you can be, it'll chase you all day. And that's how money is.
You know, we have a thing. We have something where we'll tell them, you know, what do you think it takes to be successful? You know, in an interview process, what do you think it takes to be successful? And they'll give us all these answers. They'll rant and rave about, I can do this, if I do that, if I do this. And I'm like, if you do that, you will definitely be successful. Absolutely. And every week we do what's called one-on-ones, and we'll say, you know, okay, so let's go over the things that we were supposed to have done. And if you can't say that you've done those things that you said it takes to be successful, then how do you think you're going to be successful? If it's in your mind, but if you're not putting action to it, it's not going to happen.
All right. So Marilyn Iloff, good morning, Marilyn. I just love to see that you typed a question. And Marilyn's usually on here every week. You know Marilyn, don't you, of course?
I think so, yeah.
All right. What have you seen in recruiters who are consistently able to recruit your students and graduates? I love the crispness of that question. That's so perfect.
What have we seen in them?
What have you seen in recruiters who are consistently able to recruit your students and graduates? And there's a second part to this. Is there anything they do that sets them apart from other salons? Nice question, Marilyn.
Yeah, you said the key word, Marilyn. They're consistent.
Wow.
They don't just show up when they need people. They're there all the time. They are scheduled regularly on our professional development schedule. I mean, and it books out fast. Like in our Columbus location, we're booked until May. You can't even get it. Their salon can't even get in until May. So, I mean, people that they understand the importance of that, staying involved, coming in, doing mini classes, participating in, you know, in our fundraising events and our community events. If they have something going on in their salon, they invite future professionals to come and participate. You know, they have like a contest where they will have the first prize is a future professional can come and maybe shadow if they're doing a photo shoot or something. A future professional can come in and assist. So if they've already created a relationship with a future professional because they're in there all the time, and a future professional says, hey, you're my dream job. And we tell them all the time, show up the way you want to play. Orlando says, you practice the way you want to play. So you never know who's going to just walk in that door, and you've got to be prepared. A real quick short story. A future professional told me who that their dream job was, and I happened to have lunch with that person later on that week. And I was helping her with a project, and she said, is there anything I can do to help you? I said, actually, yeah. I said, I just had a conversation with a future professional, and you were to work in your salon is her dream job. I said, could you come by and chat with her today or this week? And she said, give me an hour, I'll be there. And I didn't tell the future professional, and she showed up, but unfortunately that day, the future professional, she wasn't on her game. She didn't have her hair wasn't done, her makeup wasn't done. You know, she looked like she just rolled out of bed. And that was the biggest lesson, because she would not even come up and meet the person. And that was a huge lesson that we shared with all of the future professionals. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You don't know who's going to walk through that door. Your opportunity you just might have missed out on working in your dream job. You just might have missed out. Now, of course, she didn't. The lady came back another time, but that was a great lesson.
All right.
So just participating, stay consistent.
Well, you have a bunch of sound bites here, some including some new ones to me that I haven't heard from you. Practice the way you want to play. That's another good one. Great insight from Kip. Good morning, Kip. How are you today? Great insight, much appreciated. Sue Aarons mentioned the Q Life Map. It's a great tool to use with future professionals. Megan Jasper, she loves the money's like a bad boyfriend. She calls it $1 million quote. And we got all sorts of other great comments here. So anyway, I guess we actually have to wrap this thing up. So I know
just getting good.
Yeah, I know this is not our last conversation.
No, not at all.
And we'll certainly have you back. So let's see here what else we need to do here. I guess I need to, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do is I need to award you the $1 million light bulb. Okay, so thank you for being a member.
Can I cash that?
You know, we got a salon build out we got to pay for.
All right. Well, again, this is a little bit of a tease for our participants here. We're going to be hearing more about the Cumberlanders, financial literacy, and some of the things that we're going to be doing together with Qnity. So stay tuned on that. Let's give these guys a virtual round of applause.
Thank you for having us. We enjoyed this immensely.
And let me see if I have any other final business to conduct before we send everybody on our way. And let's see here. Yep. Oh, it is for Aaron. Aaron, I guess I'll summarize this. So we have Qnity in action. We have group coaching now. We have a group starting February 8th. So many are in the need of one-on-one support or one-on small group support. These are times that require collaboration. Everybody needs a great coach. So this is something you could take advantage of. We have awesome coaches that do an amazing job. And so I'm going to give them a little bit of plug. Also, I'm working with many of you that are looking at your future, whether you should grow or go, or grow then go, grow and go. So I get to work, and I'm honored to work with many of you on this call as you look at your future. And so we're here to support you in your quest for financial success and overall life prosperity. Here are the upcoming dates for the roundtables. And I don't have any closing thoughts other than I got about a half a dozen nugget quotes from the Cumberlanders that I'm going to frame up on my wall. I'm going to put them up on the wall behind us. What do you think, Michelle? Just start putting the Cumberland wall. So, all right, guys.
Thanks so much. We
get on with the
appreciate it.
rest of the day. Bye, guys.
Thanks for having us
Thanks,
today.
guys.
Thank you.
Everybody else, we'll see you next week, and spread the word about the roundtable. The more collaboration, the better as far as we're concerned. So thanks again.